have it. Tottenham Hotspur, 1 point above relegation. 7 games remaining in the Premier League. They're going all in. They're doing the equivalent of sitting at the poker table, looking at your chips, and just going all in. And they're gambling on Roberto De Zerbi, the former Brighton manager, most recently at Marseille. The Italian manager returns to the Premier League pending a work permit. He becomes Tottenham's full-time manager, and obviously the aim right now, the only goal is to keep Tottenham in the Premier League, and let's see what happens in the future. So here's what I think. On one hand, this gamble, as I said, is one where Tottenham have to do it. They have literally ran out of choices. Beggars cannot be choosers, and they are walking not on thin ice, but ice that is breaking. There is no identity, no character, no connection between the fan base and Tottenham. All they need to do right now is focus on the fact that they need to stay in the Premier League. All they need to do, right? A big role. And so De Zerbi comes in, a manager who is very strong-willed, a strong character, very stubborn, but also with a history of creating really attractive football. We know what he did with Brighton, of course, after taking over from Graham Potter. And he knows the Premier League. So this is a man that can definitely do this. He is a personality that can maybe enter the training ground and really instill some confidence in this very weak Tottenham side that needs to just win right now and gain points and stay in the Premier League. At Marseille, he left with I think a record-breaking percentage win ratio with the French club as well, and he's got a tremendous history, in his career. He is somebody that has given Pep Guardiola a lot of headaches in the Premier League. So this is somebody that can maybe enter and really do something here, specifically because of his system and the way that he coaches, and hopefully that sort of permeates and mirrors itself in the squad. The negatives, or at least the question marks that I have, is that number one, we go back to this. Tottenham have no room for mistakes. This isn't a time to experiment. And Roberto De Zerbi, historically speaking, enters mid-season form, and initially, which is what Tottenham need, they need points now. They need wins now. Initially, that's not been the case. When he took over Brighton, he failed to win the first 5 matches in the Premier League, after taking over the Seagulls. When he took over Benevento, he failed to win in his first 9. That was back in 2017. A year before that for Palermo, only, I believe, 1 win in the first 13 games, which speaks to me that it takes a little time for players to adjust to his system. This is not something that Tottenham can afford to do right now. They need wins right now. Obviously, situations are different. The Premier League is different, and the aim is that he can hopefully do something. But historically speaking, it takes a little time for De Zerbi's philosophy to be instilled. The other issue that I have is that at Marseille specifically, there was a lot about turmoil over there. Players were fighting internally. Players were complaining about De Zerbi. He refused to train them. There was just a lot of animosity. And a manager that comes with such stubborn, strong-willed characteristics, which can be commendable, can also be really detrimental. So it's really about how Tottenham responds to De Zerbi. At this point, I see them needing to be just, yes, sir, whatever you say, sir. Yes, general, whatever you say, general. You just listen to De Zerbi and follow his instructions. There is no other way. There is no diplomacy here. This isn't a democracy. This needs to be De Zerbi entering and them listening to De Zerbi. He has 7 games to do it. And so this becomes a gamble, a massive one. Like I said, a Hail Mary. All the chips are in, and let's see what happens. The other component is there's some pockets of the Tottenham fan base who are not necessarily supporting this because of, his support for Mason Greenwood, who played for Marseille. And they are completely justified. So it will be intriguing to see how this develops as well. But overall, from a football perspective, like I said, Tottenham are in a house that's burning, and they need to get out of it in any way possible. Is Roberto De Zerbi the man that can do it for them? We'll have to wait and see.